What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Immortals Inc. podcast. I'm back. It is Mikey, and I'm here with Jim and Amanda. And today, we're here to talk about Daggerheart.
So, I brought someone with me. You hear me mention him many times in many of the podcasts about Vampire the Masquerade. This is Jim. He's my husband. He also runs some of the games here at Immortals Inc. He's primarily for Adventure League. But today we're going to talk about a new game that just came out by Darrington Press, Daggerheart. So take it away, Jim.
Daggerheart is a fantasy role-playing game that's a lot like Dungeons & Dragons, but instead of using D20s, they have a system using D12s, which allows you to make it more narrative. Each of the D12s in this case, you want to make sure that you have different colored D12s, 100% if you play, because it'll get confusing otherwise, because you have to know one to be good or hope, the other to be more of a bad version, which is fear.
Oh.
And by that, you can have a success, but with fear. So it's a success, but bad things happen, or a fail where there's hope and good things happen. So it makes a little bit more of a narrative battle system. We got to play it a little bit so far. I think my opinion of it was that I need to run it a few more times to really get into the meats and bones of it. But the system itself is very sound. It's pretty easy to understand. Instead of having just a character sheet, they included cards, which allow you to see your powers and be able to trade them out as you go.
So from the player standpoint, because we playtested this yesterday here at Immortals, and Jim was the storyteller. From player side, character creation wasn't bad. We did test it out, even though we did use pre-mades. The only thing I would caution is to anyone who's new to follow the instructions in the book. There is an additional character sheet guide that goes with, like if you make a bard, there's a bard sheet that tells you kind of where to put your stats and stuff. That should be used as a supplement as opposed to telling you how to make your character, because it's kind of an order of operations. So you build your character and actually understand it because it's collaborative. And there's conversations you should be having with the other players at the table as you go. So everybody should be doing the steps together for a campaign. So that's really neat because you're building the world together. It's very collaborative, like Vampire the Masquerade, where you're building the world around you through your players and assistance through the storyteller. So that's really awesome. It's got a very Dungeons and Dragons feel. So you have some of the creature types or ancestries that you're used to, like orcs and humans and elves and goblins. But then you have some new stuff. There's these fungrils, which are like mushroom people.
Oh, I'm about to say fungus. Yeah, it makes sense.
You know me and mushrooms. I love the Underdark, so I was all about that. They also have like ribbits, which are frog people, which I thought was really cool. And the Qatari, which are like lion and tiger people. So there's niches that you couldn't really scratch in some of the other games as easy as you can with Daggerheart. So that's really cool because you can also do hybridization. So you could be a mushroom frog, or you could be a frog goblin, and you could have gifts from both. And I thought that was really interesting because new D&D 2024, they took away hybridization. So this kind of gives it back, but with the idea that it's an either or, you can pick. It could just be for aesthetics, but it could also be you have, like in the case of a mushroom frog, you could have the mushroom side where you can talk to other mushrooms, or you could be the decay side. And then on your frog side, you could pick the long tongue or being able to swim, but you can't have both. So it's like a pick and choose. Which I thought was really good for player autonomy.
Yeah.
I also thought that the cards were really helpful because you could change stuff out as your character grows. And also as a quick reference. Now, I would say if you're playing in the public, you'd want to have sleeves because those cards look really nice. And you may not want people touching and getting fingerprints.
What are they? Are they the size of like a magic card?
A little bit bigger.
Okay.
So Dragon Shield should work. I went for an even bigger size because I'm very protective of things like that because when I collect something, I want it to remain pristine as long as it can.
these cards are beautiful. The artwork in this book is beautiful. We can't really show you because of the rules with Darrington Press. But that's why you should probably buy the book. If you're really into artwork and you're really into like a D&D world where it's really quick and easy to set up and play, this is good. Especially if you really love the Critical Role world and some of the other projects that team does. It's got their vibe all over this game. Even like it's got some vibes of Candela Obscura in terms of gameplay and it being very narrative. So if you like a more narrative game, this game's really fun.
And I heard it was pretty. There was some combat focus in there. Is that true, or how did it go when you guys played?
We did do some combat, but combat is so quick. It's not like in D&D where you're waiting for somebody to take forever. Only one concern I did have with combat is if you don't implement, like we took one of the ideas from the book for initiative. So initiative isn't really a thing in Daggerheart, but they had an opportunity for action tokens where you take your... Sorry, Jim. I do this to him in real life, so he's used to me talking over him. But we used action tokens, so each of us got 3 actions per turn. So the spotlight would move from me, then move to Aaron, and then whoever else was at the table, and everybody would get to do their 3 actions, and then it would move to the next person.
I mean, it is both a positive and a negative with that because it can make some really narratively fun combats, and people, unlike D&D nowadays, where we're in initiative. It's not my turn. Let me pull out my phone. I'm going to look around. You kind of are still in the game no matter what. The negative is if you don't have a storyteller that'll pass that spotlight around and make sure everybody gets a turn, you'll end up with that one player that's going to do 18 things at once, while the rest of you just sit there and go, but what about me?
Yeah.
But it does have the rules for how to do the tokens. Mm-hmm. So I would say if you're new to like tabletop gaming, you want to give this game a try, I would say use the tokens so that way everybody gets a turn.
What do the tokens do again?
Well, it's just for your turn. So you get 3 actions. So you could say I played a rogue and when we tested it. So I used my first action to hide underneath the cart. And then I used my second action to sneak attack. And then I used my third action to dive back underneath the cart. So like it's similar enough to D&D, but you're able to be more flexible as opposed to normally you can't hide, attack, then hide. So in the case of this, I was able to do that for narrative purpose. That like I just swiped out with my knife and went back under the
Got the Achilles, swiped the Achilles out.
Yeah,
went back
my little
under.
Frog guy who's scared of his own shadow was like, yeah, and
I
then
remember.
back under there.
What was the name of your frog guy again?
I made another one. When I made my character, I made one named Frognick Mysterio because I like to terrorize Jim playing pro wrestlers in almost every game.
Hence the shirt.
Yeah, but
just a little.
The playtest I played the pre-made that the game came with named Barnacle, and it was well-made pre-made. Most games, you can't say that about a lot. You know how my feelings about
Are you
World
talking
of
about this
Darkness.
game? It was a good pre-made?
There's pre-mades that you can use to playtest. You know my feelings on World of Darkness pre-mades that they don't even have the right powers or the right attributes on characters. These were spot on.
To a step forward, they actually put that on their website. So there's a quick start game that you can actually test and see if the system's right for you, because it is there. But from playing it, the stuff in this book that they added to it makes it a lot better. Like the idea of their campaign settings, where instead of it just being, okay, well, this is the campaign, this is all it is, they're like, well, why don't we take it and we're going to base it off of we're going to do cooking. So now your characters are regular people, so you don't have swords and shields, you have frying pans and cleavers, going into a dungeon, fighting and killing monsters, but instead of just killing them, the only way you can heal is by cooking the monsters and making a complete meal out of them. And it's a little mini game where you do a cooking montage. Another one, which is much more dark, is like, what if the gods abandoned the world? And now everything's dark and shadow, and you slowly get corrupted by the world until you go screaming into the madness like a Cthulhu game.
Oh, so you can make it thematic to your own liking. That's
and
amazing.
Change the system up, and they give you some advice to doing it in a bunch of different ways.
Oh, so this is pretty huge drop.
Yeah,
So,
it's really nice, and the book's really well made. I'm really about how craftsmanship is with these books because we've seen some rough stuff.
yeah,
come in through
Darrington
here.
has some good
It
stuff.
is one thing that I love about the book is you can actually open it. Most books won't go all the way open. This one will lay flat.
Oh, nice.
So it is very well made.
That's quality for sure. So what's the final rating out of 10 on Daggerheart?
I would say it's a solid 8.
Nice.
I would say to have a more clear rating, we'd probably have to play it some more. But getting a play test in, I think, was essential for us giving it a real review. If you looked at it, it's D12. It's doesn't have an initiative. Like by diving into it and seeing what it is and actually trying it out, that was a good idea. So if you do want to try it out, we are planning on scheduling a demo day here at Immortals Inc. So stay tuned to the immortalsinc.com/events page.
Yes.
Because we're going to get something out there so anyone who wants to learn this game and give it a shot can come and do that.
Very well said. Thank you, too, for coming in today. Let's revisit this when you guys are done and you are more well-versed in Daggerheart, and we got some time later to come and revisit this. I'd love to do that.
We'll definitely be putting something on the YouTube with you guys so that way people could see it in action.
Oh, yeah, you wanted to do a gameplay, actually.
Kind of like what we
so-
do with World of Darkness, yeah.
And if you guys are wondering what's World of Darkness, clevelandbynight.com. She's wearing the shirt. I put all the links below. Thank you, too, for coming in, and thank you guys for watching. We will see you guys next time.